Every year, my boss asks to have a little bit of time to talk with you and thank you, so I'm going to call her up and let her do that. So my wife, Paula Knezovich.
I'm just not that tall, unfortunately. I wish. So, but well, thank you. And I did want to make sure I had a few minutes. It's the one time a year that I will get up and say anything up in front. They're always like, you go a place and they go like, Paul, you want to talk? Nope. No, it's not my, not normally my thing. But I want to let you know, every year I enjoy coming here. I enjoy talking, and I get to know more and more of you and see more faces that I recognize. And that for me is really neat. I know I don't remember a lot of your names, but I so appreciate you coming and what you do to support the Sheriff's Office, what you do to support my husband and what he does, and what you do to support my family. It means a lot to me that you give so much of your time, your free time, and just your devotion to your community and to the Sheriff's Office. So thank you for being here. And that's all I guess I should say. Sorry. Thanks.
She was asked to get up and talk at an event last month, and she said, I'm going to do what the pastor's wife said. I'm going to stay in my wheelhouse. As you can see, this last year, we lost quite a few of our members of our family. And that's the way I look at this organization, both the scope and the Sheriff's Office is a family. And we do a lot of work for the community that goes really unnoticed. We have great people in units that you never really hear much about. One of those is a forensics unit who is doing all kinds of photographs tonight, so I want them to stand up so you can give them a round of applause. I will tell you that you can be very proud of this unit because I believe that they, and I truly mean this isn't just the boss going, okay, yeah. This is one of the best forensics units in the state of Washington. We had a tragic homicide this year, a triple homicide, and the dedication of this team was amazing. They worked countless hours day in and day out during that homicide investigation. Probably more time was spent on that. Well, I think it was the second most time put on any case in the history of the Sheriff's Office by this unit. They sifted debris and ash from the fire multiple times. I lost count at like the fifth briefing saying that they just sifted it one more time. They found a lot of great evidence, and again, I really want them to know that you're not just that unit that's down in the basement. You're one of the backbones of the agency. We're going to get a chance to recognize many of the units in the agency, and one of those components that really they never get much recognition or many awards is my command staff. So, command staff, could you stand up? Tonight we have Captain Dave Ellis, Captain John Knowles, Captain Mark Warner, Under Sheriff Jeff Tower, our outstanding police chief out here in the valley, Rick Van Leuven, is not here tonight. But I want you to know that that this group does an amazing amount of work for the Sheriff's Office, and I don't think very many people recognize just how much work they do. The two new additions to the command staff are Captain Dave Ellis and Captain John Knowles. And I can tell you that the future of the Sheriff's Office is in good hands when you have the quality of people that are coming up through the ranks. and doing the job that they're doing. We have a multitude of young sergeants that have been promoted over the last few years, and I will venture to say that they're probably one of the best cadre of sergeants that the agency's had since I've been here. So, sergeants, you do a great job, and I want you to know that. Lieutenants, we have a lot of brand new lieutenants. They're really coming together as a unit, and I think that you're going to be able to see a lot of great things from them in the future. I want to keep my remarks very brief because of the amount of awards that we're going to be giving, but I'm going to address a few things that are definitely not going to be politically correct tonight. Just forewarning, that's the way it is. But for the last year, I've had amazing conversations internally, externally, about law enforcement. Law enforcement is a profession. I never dreamed that there would be a day that we'd have an actual conversation, discussion about, should we really let the Scout volunteers wear their uniforms anymore right now? And folks, the reason for that was you literally have people out there executing law enforcement officers, assassinating them. You have groups that have called for that action to take place. And I don't think that people really understood the impact of those actions that happened around this country, and even some of the threats, because we were not spared those threats here in the Spokane County Sheriff's Office. We had an event that happened in December of last year that one of my deputies and I in the agency received multitude of death threats on. It was an amazing conversation to have, and quite frankly, those conversations were spurred by an event that happened in August of 2014 in Ferguson. The ladies and gentlemen was based on a lie. And that lie was propagated and moved forward, and no one has really corrected that impression. Because what you had is a gentleman that committed an armed robbery and then went and assaulted a police officer, tried to get his gun, walked away, then came back for another attack on the police officer. Multitude of investigations, grand jury investigations, DOJ investigations, all came up with the same thing. The officer acted appropriately, and had he probably not taken the action that he had probably been severely hurt. All that negative attention, all that negative media attention throughout the United States spun this entire year. Those events are what caused many of the situations that we're dealing with today. The calls for assassinations of police officers. We sit there and wonder why, as a nation, we're having a hard time convincing young people to wear a badge. Because we are. Got the tail end of a remark on the TV, a morning show, and they said, nationwide, agencies are having a hard time recruiting. And the number one reason was, who wants to do the job anymore? Because of all the negative. That's a sad thing. When I got into this business, I literally had to compete against hundreds for one job. Now we have trouble getting 100 to take multitudes of jobs. And here's the secret. It takes 100 candidates to get one viable candidate, because of the requirements and the standards that we have as a profession. We need to do something to correct this perception that's going on. And it's going to take the silent majority to finally step up and say enough. We have great people working in law enforcement. Working on my master's degree, I had to do a few papers just recently. And it's roughly 1.5 to 2% of law enforcement officers that cause all of us great headaches because of their actions. I want you to take a look at that when you think about industries nationwide. Can you think of an industry that only has 2% of their employee population causing bad problems? Good luck, because usually it's anywhere from 5 to 10%. Law enforcement has a success rate that is unparalleled when it comes down to industry standards against any industry. We talk about 350 people that are engaged by law enforcement and lose their lives because of their actions, not law enforcement's actions. We respond to people's actions. It is your actions that dictate what happens during those contacts. And out of that 350 a year, there's very few that are found to be outside of policy, procedure, or law. I mean, very few. Now, when you take a look at the medical profession, there's roughly 190,000 people that lose their lives due to malpractice type situations. Again, I want you to think about just how good your law enforcement really is. We have a group of individuals that have dedicated a lot of time, effort, and they get no money and, quite frankly, very little recognition for the work that they do. Our Citizen Advisory Board, and they take a look at several of our high-profile situations. So far, they haven't found any that went outside the bounds of their training or the law. Now, some people say that's a bad thing. Maybe it's a flawed system. But maybe you need to take a look nationwide when you take a look at the grand jury system, and you have law enforcement officers that have to go through that process, and very few of them are indicted. Now, here's what they say about grand juries, though. Grand jury is most likely to indict a ham sandwich. Okay? That tells you that they have access to evidence that will never be presented at trial. That evidence will never get to trial. They have access to all that process, and they come back with rulings that the deputies or the officers acted within the full faith and effort of their profession. You have great people that work for you. I hope as a nation that we don't have to remember that through a tragic situation, because the media has tried to convince this nation that right now law enforcement has very low approvability ratings nationwide. Anybody hear that? Raise your hands if you've heard this. Okay. Well, here's the facts. About 1991, the Gallup poll started doing a poll on law enforcement, and they compare law enforcement with about 15 different entities, industries in the United States. Right now, we are at a tie with 1991. 1991 was what? Rodney King. So our approvability rating is 52%. This approvability went like this over that 20-plus year experience level. And anybody want to tell me why it went up like this and then dwindled back down? What? 9/11, 100%. It took 9/11 to remind the silent majority that we're the ones that run into the burning buildings. We're the ones that run into the trouble to save you. I hope it doesn't take another 9/11 to get that approvability rating back where it should be. And maybe the media needs to take a look at what they're doing to the men and women, that thin line that stands between chaos and a free society. Because that's what each and every one of you in this room represent. is that thin line between the chaos and a free society. Some people question our commitment to the Constitution of the United States. You're looking at a group of individuals that are probably more constitutionally oriented than any member of society sitting in this room. Because we all took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. We all took that oath, and the first book that is given to a new recruit in a Washington State Academy is the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence. You have great people that work for you. You have a great agency that works for you. And I hope that it doesn't take that next round of bad before you wake up as a society. Because I don't know how many more of our brothers and sisters it's going to take to be ambushed and assassinated before you do wake up. I am given a call, and I have given a call to all law enforcement agents, leaders in the United States to quit being so politically correct. Start defending the men and the women that protect our society. So with that, I appreciate everything that you do as Scope. You know that without you, we're not the agency that we are. There's only 228 of us sworn personnel. There's about 600 of you volunteers. You outnumber us. And I can tell you that we could not be as successful as we are without you. All the parades and all the public functions that go on there every summer, without you, they don't happen. Because we don't have the staff to make that, block all those roads or make that happen. Without you, there may not be that fingerprint card that gets taken from a cold call that helps us solve a crime. Without you, we would be blocking roads rather than evacuating the citizens of our county during mass instances like fires and hazard material releases. It's because of you that we are as successful as we are. Citizen on Patrol is going to be taken to a new level next year, and Captain Knowles is going to be in charge of making sure that it's taken to that next level. No pressure, John. Captain Ellis is going to be charged with taking the intelligence group of the Sheriff's Office to the next level. No pressure, Dave. Because every year we take a look at where we're at as an agency, where we need to grow and where we need to move forward. Those are the two areas we're focused on, is going to be our intelligence-led policing and our intelligence group. We've worked on training for a long time. Our training unit is one of the best in the state, bar none. We train almost 3,000 law enforcement professionals from across the world right here in Spokane County. We just took over, as soon as we get the ink on paper, an intelligence-led policing class that's put on by the Southern Police Institute out of the University of Kentucky, or Louisville in Kentucky, that will be the national standard for intelligence-led policing. I have no doubt about that. So you have the capability in this room to make a great Spokane County. I'm not satisfied with being good. We need to take it to the next level, because when you start getting satisfied for second best, you're always going to settle for that. Never settle for anything but your maximum potential. All right, Craig, if you want to come up and help me read names, and Jeff, if you want to come up and help me pass things out. And Captain Warner, since the chief is gone, can you pop up here and help us out with some of this too? Thank you for your attention. Thank you for all your work. Thank you for all you do. And I look forward to seeing you next year. This one actually showed. These two didn't. These did.
Did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go ahead and read their names. But this is one.
Okay. Alrighty, here we go. Big part of the presentation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through each category. I'm going to name off the folks that have received the awards. Why don't we wait till they all get up onto the stage before we clap, do all that, photographs, give them a round of applause after they all get up here. So first off, we're going to start with the Outstanding Citizens Award. We have two folks that are not here tonight, Miss Rami D. Nixon and Miss Tracy L. Mullins. In attendance tonight, we have Mr. Christopher M. Thomas. And when I read your name off, come on up onto the stage. Miss Liz Fish, M. Shawn Worstell, and Miss Debbie Wiechert. I was wrong, obviously. Wiechert? That was a clue. I'm dumb, but I'm not stupid. Do you need a picture? What's that? You already got the picture. Okay, congratulations, folks. And it's Wiechert, but it was misspelled. It wasn't my fault. All right, second up, Medal of Merit. Lieutenant Gary Smith, Patrol Lieutenant. Deputy Randy Watts. Deputy Travis Pendell. And Corporal Ken Scott. No. Okay, next up we have Unit Merit Citation. This one goes to the ITF unit. Unit Merit Citation. Due to the diligence, patience, and tenacity of this unit, over 40 residential burglaries in North Spokane were linked and the perpetrators were taken into custody. The stolen items recovered were returned to their rightful owners. The two suspects involved were charged with approximately 200 felonies. Our community is a safer place because of the members of this unit's extraordinary work on these cases. It is an honor to count you all as members of our ATF or of our team. Thank you very much. And receiving this award, Lieutenant Chris Thompson, Detective Dan Blashill, Detective Travis Hansen, who is now Sergeant Travis Hansen, Detective David Knechtel, Detective Dean Meyer, Sergeant Aaron Myrie. Sorry, you guys are supposed to be coming up, remember? He promoted, so just kidding. Detective Mark Newton, Sergeant Jeff Shover, Detective Tammy Spitzer, Detective Dan Spivey, and STA2 Cynthia Porter. Okay, next up, another unit merit citation that's going to our emergency operation team. In recognition of your dedication and personal sacrifices that members of this team gave in order to serve our local communities, you put yourselves in harm's way in all sorts of weather conditions. Your specialized skills were utilized to locate drowning victims and investigate accident and crime scenes that were related to water incidents. The rigorous and continued training also takes time away from family and friends. It is an honor to have the EOT unit as part of our team. Thank you all. And the members of this team include Sergeant James Gladden, Deputy John Cook, Deputy James Ebel, Deputy Brad Humphrey, Deputy Wade Nelson, Deputy Riley Quinn, Deputy Thad Schultz, Deputy Randy Watts, Volunteer Brian Gilbert, and Volunteer Darren Prouty.
All right, squeeze in.
No. Thank God somebody does.
Boy, they're going to be lining up on this one. Okay. Next up, annual unit merit award goes to our investigative unit. We got all kinds of folks on here, so we're going to be lining up here. Unit merit citation. The dedicated, determined, and skilled individuals of this unit came together and demonstrated what teamwork is all about. I worked all day. Come on. Nothing. Your combined work ethic, gathering evidence in a triple homicide arson case, and working the crime scene that covered a 10-day time frame was more intense than most. It is an honor to count you all as part of our team. Thank you very much. And here we go. Lieutenant Rob Sherrar, Lieutenant Christopher Thompson, Sergeant Douglas Marsky, Sergeant Jack Rosenthal, Corporal Brett Hubble, Corporal Jeff Welton, Detective Brandon Armstrong, Detective Andy Buell, Detective Mike Drapo, Detective James Dresbach, Detective Lyle Johnson, Detective Kirk Kieser, Detective Dave Knechtel, Detective Roger Knight, Detective Shannon McCrillis, Detective Dean Meyer, Detective Jeff Mitchell, Detective John Oliphant, Detective Mike Ricketts, Detective Andrew Stockman, Detective Mark Newton, Detective Mark Renz, Detective Robert Sataki, Detective Damon Simmons, Sergeant Jeff Shover, Detective David Scogan, Detective James Speaks, Detective James Spivey, Detective Darren Staley, Detective Scott Streltzoff, Forensic Specialist Tracy Boniecki, I know. Cricket? That was her high school nickname. Hey, you know what? Marsky, I can hear you. I don't even need to look at you. Who invited him up here? Forensic Specialist Jody Dewey. Forensic Specialist Melissa Shaw. Forensic Specialist Natalie Schrum. Forensics Technician Charles Housey. Forensic Technician Kristen Howard. Forensic Technician Larissa Miller. And that is everyone.
Jeff Spivey?
Did I say Jeff? Whatever, I'm tired.
You're right.
Group shot, group shot.
Sorry.
Ready?
Okay, next up is the Annual Unit Merit Award, which goes this year to the Sheriff's Office Explorers Post number 088. In recognition of this volunteer unit that has demonstrated a dedication and reliability that is above reproach, you all represent the Sheriff's Office in the most professional manner possible and serve as an example to and a helping hand for other Explorer posts. This unit has donated 5,300 hours serving in security, training, community events, and outreach programs. It is with great pride and honor that I count you all as part of our team. Thank you. First up, Deputy Jeff Duncan, Deputy Chris Young, Deputy Chad Ruff, Explorer Bryson Troutman, Explorer Brian Hutchins, Explorer Nathan Berendez, Explorer, great, Jared, what's that? Danger Dan? The Jardins? I'm thinking. Danger Dan, okay. Explorer Caitlin Verheg. Explorer, it was close. Explorer John Esty and Explorer Alexandra Messer.
Group shot. All right, get in a group. We're going to take the group shot. Hold on, don't go nowhere. Let him get up there and take the shot. One of them. I'm sure that gets hung back up on the wall downtown.
Okay, next up, we have 3 recipients of the life-saving medal. On May 24, 2015, you answered a check the welfare call which turned into an attempted suicide. Due to your swift response without regard to your own personal safety, this individual survived and was able to receive the medical help he so desperately needed. Your dedication and commitment to the citizens of this community are extraordinary. Thank you for being a valued member of our team. Detective Chris Bilo. Deputy Chris Bilo.
I know, no, I don't need glasses yet.
Yeah, should have went with it.
Congratulations.
Should be two then.
They didn't show. So I'll take the next ones.
Yeah, keys, because that was his own plaque.
Right, Barlow.
Yeah, keys and stipend.
Yeah, they didn't show.
Okay.
Right. The next two awards are awarded by the sheriff for performance throughout the year. This year's recipients are retired Sergeant Robert Cristalaw. Bob couldn't make it tonight. He had this horrible duty down in the Caribbean. Couldn't figure out why he wouldn't be here or anything, but the reason that Bob got the award this year is because he spends countless hours of his own time now that he's retired across the state of Washington and to include neighboring states, putting together, sadly, funerals for fallen officers. He is very instrumental with the Behind the Badge program, and the logistics behind an officer funeral is crushing for agencies, especially when the agency is focusing on trying to keep their own staff and the agency running at the same time. So Bob has dedicated countless hours volunteering to put those events together, and he does a very good job, not just for Spokane or the state of Washington, but for the region surrounding the state of Washington. So if Bob was here, I'd tell you to make sure that you understand just the magnitude of what this guy does for not just the agency, but the unsung heroes, which are the spouses and the children of those officers. The next individual that also received the Sheriff Star Award was Deputy Ron Nye. You know when you're on the top of your game when an entire city names a day after you. And that's what the town of Fairfield did for Deputy Nye this year. He actually had a day named for him, Deputy Ron Nye Day, for the great work that he does, not just in his assigned duty, which is a school resource deputy for both Freeman and Liberty, but for the entire South County area, because if something happens, he has developed such a rapport with the kids in those communities that we're able to solve crimes very quickly, because people talk and the kids talk to him. So Fairfield took the time, and I can tell you that is probably the highest honor that any law enforcement professional from across the world could ever have, is an entire community say, you stand alone. So I would really, even though he's not here, it's going to be on film, all those kind words, so he can watch them. So I want you to give him a round of applause for the great work he has done. With that, we have finished the law enforcement portion of the award ceremony, so if Rick Scott can come on up.